to my channel, everybody. My name is Garrica Sonye. If you are new here, welcome. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I post every Wednesday, and I do snippet posts on Friday. I am a mom, I'm a minister, I'm an actress, I'm a singer, I am a motivational speaker. I kind of do it all. And if you are into it, maybe you can follow me and I can inspire you with my life. Who knows? But today I wanted to talk about mental health. And mental health is really important to me because since I've been on my journey, if you've watched any of my other videos, I talked about my anxiety, and some of the things that I was dealing with that. And I just want to dive a little bit more into my mental health situation and what's going on with me personally, as far as that goes. So I always talk about it, or in the past couple of videos I've talked about it, or you've even seen it in the background of a video. But this is my book. It's called Dear Ma, and I wrote it when my mom passed. Well, my mom passed away in 2013. I didn't write the book until last year. So it's available on Amazon and also on my website. But I wanted to read a piece of it, and we can just kind of like talk about it and kind of talk about my journey to being me, being comfortable with me and my mental health. Because I know, at least for a lot of people in the African American community, we don't talk about our mental health very often, or we brush it off as something you can pray away and, you know, blink and it'll disappear. But necessarily, even with me being somebody that's super spiritual, I do understand that I have to put in the work. And part of me writing this book. I got some more. Okay, thank you, baby. Shut the door. Thank you. I love my kids. Okay. And I'm actually going to keep that in. So, that was Alvin. That's my baby boy. But I wanted to share my mental health, some of my mental health journey with you guys that I am still working on, that I am still dealing with. And like I said, with me being somebody who is spiritual, I know that even with prayer and working with faith, I still have to put in the work. And the book to me was putting in the work. And sharing the book with you all is so that you can start your process to healing after loss, or, you know, just starting a process on healing in general. So I'm going to read it. This is chapter 4, I'm going to say. Yeah, this is chapter 4. So I'm going to read it to you. Depression. Feelings of severe despondency, dejection, loneliness, sadness because one has no friends or company. Dear Ma, I'm pregnant. I wish you were here to see it. We talked about this for years, me being a mom. I don't know what to do. Steve has asked me to marry him the week before we found out. I love him. He's great. I think you would love him too. He's a little rough around the edges, but he loves me so much. And I said no. I just don't think I'm ready to be a mom and someone's wife. I barely know. Oh, I'm barely okay with no you. I hope it's a girl so I can name her after you. We've already talked about it. This is going to be a very hard 9 months. I need you. I'm scared again. What if I mess this kid up? You would have been a great nana. And I would have an on-call babysitter. This sucks. So, Steve is my husband. For those of you who are like, who's Steve? This was very hard for me. So each chapter in this book starts off with a letter that I wrote my mom, an actual real letter that I wrote my mom to help me process her not being on earth with me. And I am going to make it through this video without crying. So, I want to say this chapter was the hardest chapter for me and really leaked into my depression. So I read the definition for depression. There's the Webster's Dictionary definition of depression. Literally there's a definition for every stage of grief in every chapter. I chose depression because I know that that's something that I dealt with and still in some days still deal with, not wanting to get out of the bed, not wanting to do, not being the bubbly, happy person that everybody knows that I am. Because depression is something that I deal with, and couple that with my anxiety, and it's a circus in my brain. Um, Me being pregnant without my mom, because it was something that I never thought I would have to deal with. I never thought I would get married and my mother not be there. It's really, really hard for me. Um, I didn't lie. Those next 9 months, it took a long time for me to find peace with it. Um, I wanted my mom there. I wanted my mom there to hold my hand. I wanted her there to see her grandchild and hold him for the first time. I wanted those movie magical moments. And I said that in the book. I want those movie magical moments. And I didn't get them. Not saying that I don't have amazing people in my life that once my mom passed, stepped up to the plate. My sister being one. And my dad, stepping up further, and my mom's friends stepping up and saying, hey, we got you, we got you, we get it. It was hard, and I had a lot of dark days. I had a lot of days where I didn't want to get out of bed, and pregnant this was before I got pregnant, actually. I didn't want to get out of bed. I would smile on the outside, but I'm really not as happy as people would perceive that I was. I had a lot of days where I didn't want to eat. I had a lot of days where things that normally brought me joy would make me angry. Um, and it really just started to play with my livelihood. I mean, I would go to work, but it wasn't what I loved. I literally um, wanted to stop acting because I felt that it was what me and mom had. Yes, it was my career choice. Yes, I chose it at a very, very young age. And my mom was my biggest supporter. And now she's not here. And now I'm trying to navigate life, navigate who I am. Who am I without her? Those were legit thoughts that ran through my brain. How am I going to be a mom without her? How am I going to do ministry without her? How am I going to breathe, process, all of those things without her? It was really, 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 really tough. And it's still really, really tough at times. Um, my mom is important to me and important to my well-being. And I didn't even realize, like, I knew I had anxiety. It wasn't something that me and my mom talked about. It wasn't something that I really shared with anybody, but I did know that I had anxiety. And my anxiety sometimes would take over, especially when I lived in New York. And I would be so afraid, but my mom was my soother. And I could call her, and I have friends that'll tell you, I used to talk to my mama when I got up in the morning, got on the train. Well, if the call dropped on the train, as soon as I came from underground, I was back on the phone with her. When I got off work at night, if I had rehearsals, whatever, my mama was on my phone 24/7. And it's like she lived for it. Like her life stopped so she could be on the phone with me. Good morning. You're going to be late to work. You called me late. Like it was everything. You headed to class. You're going to be late because you just called me. So she was my soother, and I lost it. I lost my soother. I didn't have somebody that I could call every single day at a certain time. They knew my schedule. They knew that they were inspecting my call. I didn't have that anymore. And it was scary. It was scary. I had to detach. And I'm not gonna lie, I started drinking a lot. I started drinking a whole lot, and that actually ended up catching up with me in the long run. I did a lot of things to kind of drown that pain instead of actually dealing with it and processing it. And it took a long time. I made some choices that I don't regret, because I try not to regret anything I do, but learn from it. And I just know that those things that I chose to do were not really for me, but just me lashing out through my pain. And if I could replay how I handled the death of my mom, a lot of things would have happened differently. I would have said a lot of different things to people. I would have allowed those people who wanted to love me and love on me in my time of sorrow to do so. But I was so wrapped up in my head and the things that I thought and the things that I felt that I couldn't see. I couldn't see who I was. I couldn't see the greatness that was coming.
Bubba trying to get the ring.
Okay, I'll come watch it in a second. Okay, Bubba?
He's trying to get the ring. You're going to put them in jail.
Oh, okay, I'm coming. Go on, I'm coming. I promise, I'm coming.
See? You hear it?
No, I'ma come. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because he's going to keep coming in unless I come watch Bubble Guppies. So, I found peace and solace once I realized that I needed to take care of myself. So I started going to therapy. And it's really funny. My mom died in 13. I got pregnant at the end of 14 and had my baby in 15. So I started going to therapy. Well, okay, let me refresh. I've been to therapy before. I went to therapy prior to my mom dying. Again, that's how I dealt with my anxiety. And I will do a video strictly on me and the process before. But since I read from the book, I'm going to deal with the process after. I went to therapy. I went to therapy when I got pregnant because I knew that what I was dealing with mentally was going to affect my pregnancy. And I knew I needed to stay focused and I needed to be positive and I needed to find joy in this. So I went to therapy and I talked it out and I had an amazing therapist. I wish she was still my therapist, but she's not. Had an amazing therapist who didn't push any drugs on me or anything like that because she took the time to get to know me and learn exactly what I needed for that time. And it's different than talking to a friend because there are certain avenues and questions that they make you dive deep into. There were moments where I heard myself talk and I was like, oh my gosh, I sound crazy. Why would I think that? And make me question my motives and my thought processes. So therapy was big for me. And with my book, I did the same thing. Some questions that you got were direct questions from the therapist that I had at the time. And some questions were things that I thought of later as I started to continue my process because grieving is a process in itself. Like, yes, my therapist helped me through. And then after I had the baby, there was a whole new strand of issues and things that were causing me to deal with it. I can say that I dealt with postpartum depression, but it wasn't, I don't know if it was fully baby based. Like, I loved that little boy so much. He slept with me. He was just all up under me. He was, oh, he's so cute. Not the one y'all just saw. There's a bigger one. He was just, he's my everything. And I loved him so much, but there were parts of me that were just like, now what? Like, I have you. Am I going to be good? Is my life over? Do I go back to performing? Do I continue this journey or do I now steer everything and direct everything towards you? It was like, is my life over now? It was a lot of questions that I feel that people go through all the time and they're usually afraid to say out loud because you feel bad as a parent. Like, why do I think this way? I should be happy that I even have a child. Like, those types of things, but those are legit questions that I had because I couldn't see past my own fog. And now that that's gone and I'm working towards it and now he's 5 and he has a whole little brother. We're moving towards something else. It's like I can now see how to balance them out, how to find time for myself and understanding that taking time for myself is part of my mental care, that I need time where I can just back up and breathe and refocus so I can be a great mom to them. If I didn't go to therapy, I don't think I would have had those things or those tools, or I would have gotten it eventually, but how much would they have had to suffer with a mom who didn't want to get out of bed, who would cook for them but not eat herself, who would literally just not see the point of going to the park, or take them to the park and didn't want to play with them, or, just so wrapped up in making sure that I provided that I forgot to enjoy the gift that are my kids, because I'm so wrapped up in what I don't have and what I'm not doing and what I'm not seeing and what I'm not getting, that I don't see what I do have and what I should be grateful for. Therapy legit saved my life. And as I get older, do I have a therapist now? No. Do I miss having a therapist? Yes. Not because I still feel those really, really deep, dark places all the time, but to me, it's a part of my self-care to have those moments. I still have moments where I just need to talk. And sometimes, again, talking to your friend, it's not the same. Like, I do talk to my friends about things that's going on with me, but I like to have that objective point of view. And that is, what made me want to get into life coaching and spiritual coaching, because one, I'm a minister, which that happened way before my mom passed. It just didn't become official until after mom passed, but I was already in classes and going through to learn everything I needed to do ministry. And that's what made me want to do life coaching, because I wanted to be able to share all this new insight with other moms, or just other women, or other people, period, who are going through some of the same things that I went through, and going through some of the same things that I have dealt with, whether it's with their children or just personal life things, because I've lived a lot of life. I may not talk about it all the time, but I've been through some struggles, and I've gone through a lot of things in life and learned a lot of great lessons that I didn't even realize until after the fact, when I lifted the fog and I came out of it and was like, I've done so much, that who am I not to share these things with people where they're able to do as much in their own lives. So that's why I wanted to get into life coaching. That's why I got into it. So I want to be that help to people that, I would never, first of all, not a therapist, not a licensed therapist, no. But what I can offer you is, one, a listening ear and an objective point of view, because that's what I got. An objective point of view and the work that you need to do to push you to where you need to be, as well as be there for you spiritually and lift you up in prayer and pray with you and teach you how to deal with God on a deeper level.